To all who come to this happy place,
welcome.
And now,
Ladies and gentlemen,
remain seated, please.
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Remain Seated Please. I'm David.
I'm Suzi.
And Robert and Inthea are out today to avoid spoilers for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
Peter, this one's for you.
Yes, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. We finally took the plunge. We made the reservation, which was a super stressful time. And we had like 4 computers going, and you were able to get a reservation twice. Before I was able to. And not that we were taking people's spots. Explain the issue you ended up having that a lot of people ended up having.
Yeah, so the only reason we were doing it on the 4 computers, we weren't trying to get 4 reservations. We were just trying to ensure to get the 1 reservation. So we just wanted to increase our odds. And what happened was we got in, it kind of had a queue, almost like a literal virtual queue. And we just had to sit and wait. And I will say, while it was stressful, Disney did seem to do a pretty good job at, like, the sites didn't crash. However, there was an issue when I finally got through and got to the page to kind of create the reservations. I put my name, my information, and, clicked, like, the next button. And, of course, you're doing everything in a hurry, but I genuinely did not see a place to add any other guests. There were not additional lines. There was no blue link. A lot of people talked about that a little bit later, but there was nothing. I was able to enter my name, and then I clicked the kind of the proceed button or confirm button, thinking that would come next, and then I get a confirmation for my reservation for myself and only myself. So of course we panicked because there went our one chance, right? Like, what were the odds that we were going to get through again? And so we sat on all of our computers and just waited to see if, for whatever reason, we could get through again for a different date. And sure enough, thankfully, was able to get back into a reservation spot. And I was so nervous and so overwhelmed by the first experience. I had David remote in to the screen to just make sure that we got, myself, David, and then Wes, our son, on the reservation. If
anybody from Team Viewer listens to the show, that was the way that we were able to get reservations. I used Team Viewer to remote into our home PC and help Suzi make those reservations.
And I after we finally made them, we did take a bit of a breath because it's all we wanted, and I obviously didn't want to experience it by myself. So I was glad that we were able to get a different reservation. However, it did seem like there were quite a few people who had the same issue I had, and there was a lot of talk about Disney at the time, like the day of, obviously being overwhelmed by those people calling and trying to get in touch with somebody. So I didn't even attempt to do any of that. I was watching some of the online updates of people doing it. And I mean, even when I did attempt to call, I just wasn't getting through. So they said you couldn't alter your reservation. You couldn't even cancel it. And I felt bad because I technically did have that one by myself. And I was like, well, I'm obviously not going to go by myself, so I should just cancel it. But anyway, that was that was the day that we were able to secure our reservations. We got June 5th. And David had a really good idea. He wanted to see the land at dusk, which, I mean, really is such a great time at the parks, period. So we did a 5 to 9 reservation. So we had a couple days to kind of see. I mean, I can't, I guess, speak for you, and it didn't seem like you were really worried about any spoilers. In fact, I am pretty much the opposite. Like, I really like to have an idea of what's there, what's available, what's going on, because especially with a time limit, I just didn't want to miss anything that I wanted to do. And I know, obviously it's not our one and only time, but it will probably be a while until we can really fully enjoy it again, because I think it's going to be bonkers
Yeah.
once it opens to the non-reservation crowd.
Yeah, and we'll get into it. I think I took a pretty laid-back attitude toward the whole process only because I said it's just a land. Like, you know, if I could explore Norland Square in 4 hours, you know what I mean? Like, and really take in the details.
But I don't think that that's true.
Well, like I said, we'll get into it because the land is much larger than I
Yeah.
had anticipated for sure. But I think we balanced each other out a little bit. I looked at nothing almost in terms of like videos online when people are like, you know, it had been open for 5 days. I think I barely watched the opening ceremony before we went. We had prepared Wesley by watching Star Wars a couple days before. He was very excited to go when we were going to go. And I don't even know if I knew you could build a droid there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think there were things like that I was very busy with work, and I sort of like leaned into that. I was like, we have the reservation, we're going to go.
We'll go, we'll enjoy
and so,
it, we'll see.
like I said, we balanced it out because I went in very laissez-faire, and you very much had a plan. Like, look, this is what we got to do. This is where you got to go, and all that
very
stuff.
much was following the preview. Like, you know, there were some cast member previews. There's a couple like Instagram people on there. I think the person who I found to be the most helpful, and I really find her to be really enjoyable to follow, period. And a lot of you may already follow her, but Magical Kind of Mama. They used to be two
Magic
sisters.
Kingdom Mom.
No, she changed her name.
What?
Yeah, she had to. Copyright stuff, and she wants to continue a good relationship with.
Well, this is news.
Yeah.
So what is it
she
now?
addresses it on her Instagram. It's Magical Kind of Mama. Magic Kingdom is Disney property.
That is interesting. Oh my gosh. I hope our days aren't numbered. We don't have the followers that she does, so.
But anyway, she had a lot of great kind of tips that I use to sort of help me, I guess, plan or try to plan what it is that was important. Because I got from her that she felt that it was just a little short on time. And that really started to concern me. But like, again, like I say concern, it's like such a first world problem that I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do in 4 hours at Galaxy's Edge?
Yeah, it was nice to have the reservation. And again, we'll get into this later because there's some things I want to touch on before we enter the land. But very much on the day of, you're like, if I don't see everything today, it's going to go away and it will never be here again. And I had to be really good about telling myself, like, no, this is now a part of
It's here.
Disneyland.
Yeah.
And I need to look forward to getting to know it more intimately like I know New Orleans Square or Frontierland. So fret not. If you have reservations, get excited and plan ahead. And if you don't and you plan on going after it's open to the public, just know
Get there early.
Get there early, but also just know that it's going to be there. Like, it's not going anywhere. And I think it's one of those duh type of things, but also like when you're caught up in the moment of it, you know, you kind of feel like this could be fleeting. I need to see everything right now.
I think it's just like, I think specifically for us, there was a lot of people that we had chatted with in our lives who may be Disney people but didn't care to even make the reservation. And I think a lot of them even kind of alluded to the crowds. They didn't want to go because of the crowds. And I thought to myself, this seems like the most prime time to go, because yes, of course it will be crowded with people in a sense, but it's not going to be nearly as bad. And I'm sure Disney's still going to have some type of cap or capacity because they've already talked about a virtual queue into the kind of land itself, it sounds like. I don't know much about it. I haven't read about it. But I did hear some talkings about that. So I think they're really going to try to make it and keep it enjoyable, because I guess getting into that a little bit later, I very much appreciated that we were able to go in a reservation, but even in our reservation had the thought of, oh my God, if it's like this now, what is it going to be like after June 24th or 3rd or whatever it is. So,
well, I think another thing, and this is where we can rewind it a little bit. One thing that probably kept people away was that unless you have a signature or up pass up until a few weeks before the land opened, most people were going to be blocked out. So they would have had to fork a day pass up front, which we had planned on doing. And thank goodness, because when they announced the Flex Pass, I turned to you and said, oh man, now we can't cancel those tickets you bought. And you said,
we didn't get them yet. Yeah, we had heard about the Flex pretty soon after we made the reservations. I can't remember exactly when, but anyway, I was very confused by it at first, and I was very much not on board immediately with like, oh, is this even an option for us? So I just assumed we would do a day pass. But again, I keep up with some of the online kind of talk. Disney was really pushing it for a little bit on their like Facebook page, I think. And I finally kind of looked into it to really try to get an understanding. And I did the math. I mean, it really kind of came down to that. I did the math. What would 3 peak day, 1 day tickets or 1 park tickets
even park
cost?
hoppers.
Well, no, but that's the thing is that would have been that much more expensive.
Right.
So we really actually didn't even need the park hopper because our passes were still good at California Adventure. So we literally just needed admission to Disneyland, and the cost to buy the 1 day peak 1 park ticket was maybe $100 difference from us all upgrading to the Flex. We did not have the SoCal pass where you have to be grandfathered in, so there was really no downside to upgrading and trying it out.
Yeah, we went from SoCal Select to the Flex Pass, and
well, we had talked about it, and we're like, if we go, so we're going to go on June 5th, and if there's one other day we reserve in the entire year, it will have already been economically a better choice.
Correct. And we have already gone twice because we went on Memorial Day. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's the other thing is we made that reservation
the day,
like the night before.
Yeah.
So I guess to quickly touch on that, I do think time will tell with this pass. A lot of people think that they're trying to bump people out of that grandfathered SoCal pass. There's talks about them getting rid of the deluxe pass. There's a lot of stuff kind of floating around. I don't know how much of it has been confirmed, but in the end, as of right now, even if it is only this year, it has been a really great experience. You can make the reservations easily on your app. I canceled, like we were going to potentially go on Thursday. I was going to take Wes on Thursday, and I decided, you know what? I realized we can't go. Weather was kind of like high. I was like, it's a little hot. Canceled it on the app. It's just really been a pretty seamless experience. I think the only one issue that seems to be constant is something with the discount. But even that that seems to sort of have... I mean, you can order food on the app and have no issue. It's just in the store.
Right.
But anyway, Flex Pass, as of right now, has been a really good experience. So that's what we did.
Yeah. And just real quick, because we haven't talked about the Flex Pass on the show at all, basically the details, I think when they first came out was that you could go once a month, and if you didn't go, or maybe this was my understanding of it, you could go once a month on a blackout day, and if you didn't go, you got blacked out for 30 days. And I was like, well, it seems fair, blah, 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 but it's way more lenient than that. You can go twice a month, and if you miss 3 times, then you get blacked out for 30 days.
So you have the capability of making 2 reservations within the next 30 days of whatever date it is. Right. So, and the thing about that is, so somebody traveling out here for a 4-day weekend, it's sort of taking a gamble, but in theory could book their 2 days, and then once they enter the park for that first day, can make the next day reservation. Yeah. I don't think that that's the best plan for that, but
yeah, don't plan accordingly that way. But
yeah, but for someone for people like us, where we're local, it literally is like you can do it the day of if it's available. Yeah. So there's a calendar. The only actual and blackout days I feel like is a very different. So there's good to go days, there's reservation days, and then there's like hard blackout days basically. And when we looked at the calendar, I think there's only like 2 weeks of hard blackout days, and that's right around Christmas or something like that. So we knew that right away, like it just seemed like a good idea. So that's what it is. You can hold 2 reservations within the 30-day period. And if you don't show up or don't cancel your reservation 3 times, you cannot make a reservation for 30 days. Right. So you're like on probation for 30 days, and then you're back to being able to do whatever. So yeah, I think it came at the right time. I think it was probably part of the whole Project Stardust thing, and was like the one extra thing that they had that no one really saw coming, I don't think. And I think it worked out really well. So far, it's worked out well for us. And so then here comes the day. We go to the parks, and because our reservation's at 5:00, I took the day off of work. We went over there and made a day of it. So we went to California Adventure first, went and experienced some stuff over there, and then basically waited for our California.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We went on Soarin' Over California, which is back. And it wasn't remastered or anything at all. And it's funny to really see it sort of show its age after Soarin' Over the World. Or Soarin' Around the World. Because Soarin' Around the World looks so steady and clear and clean compared to Soarin' Over California. It was pretty funny. And then it was the waiting game. Then it was like, we pretty much have done everything we want to do. Can we please go to Star Wars Land? Galaxy's Edge. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
So they have you check in at the launch bay, or what I guess used to be the launch bay.
I think they still have an entrance for launch bay, but it's a very small.
I don't think you can do anything.
Where we exited, there was an entrance you could go in and take a photo with, like Chewbacca and them, I think, still.
And there is a shopping opportunity there to kind of, I guess, get you going.
They pitch it as things in the land and not in the land,
which is so crazy.
I pretty much saw everything in the land.
Well, and then why would you have anything available out here that you wouldn't have available in the land?
Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, check in at the launch bay.
We did check in, but also if you have reservations, please check your wristbands, because they gave us the wrong time wristbands, and we would have, it was for the current time. So we checked in a little early. So we got wristbands for 2 to 6, and obviously our reservations weren't until 5. And it was already like, it had like just turned 2 or 2:30 or 3. So that would have, like, we would have lost a whole, like, if I don't know.
They would have made us, they wouldn't have had the wristbands there. They would have made us go back to launch bay, get the correct ones.
And then kicked us out at 6. And I would have been like, excuse me? Because they made it seem like they would be really strict, and we didn't know at the time. Yeah. But check your wristbands, make sure it's for the right time. And then, we, like David said, you were saying, we were meandering about, and our son had fallen asleep, which was good. It's what we wanted. But then, we just sort of sat waiting. They told us there would be no line. They enter at Critter Country, so right below
Hungry Bear
Restaurant. And there were very much people waiting. We sat down and sort of just enjoyed the shade, and again, sitting since our son was asleep. But we had like an hour and a half or so to wait. But it was a good little break. But it was no line, yet then all of a sudden there was a line. I don't know. I will say it got a little chaotic. At first, it seemed like they were going to be...
Everyone was very excited to go.
First, it seemed like it was going to be pretty like organized, and then it really wasn't. But our Wes was up, and we were all very excited, and we had to kind of... There wasn't really a line, but they do scan your wristbands, and then you kind of get shuffled into what is this walkway, but then they stop you. So they let us in at about 4:30?
Yeah, at 4:30 they started scanning wristbands and queuing the group together. They basically stop you near, it was kind of nice. It was near one of the Coca-Cola stands where they're selling the limited edition Coca-Cola and Sprite bottles.
I don't know if they're limited.
Oh, really? That'll be great if they're in the park the whole time.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if in a year they're still doing it, but I'd like to be proven wrong. That'd be cool. So anyway, they stop you near an X-Wing and that's on a stage that looks like there might be a show there eventually, which is directly opposite of what they're calling Jedi Ruins, which will eventually become Rise of the Resistance. It's just the whole outdoor queue area. And then there's an A-wing
can't really
there.
see anything other than these
No, there's no
things that you're
signage or
describing.
anything. And yeah, you can't see anything in the land except for some cast members walking around. They give you the lowdown. They tell you if you're going to the cantina, follow me. I'm holding a stick with a big orange flag on it. And it doesn't look like a road worker flag. Like, it looks of the land. And then was there another queue, or was it just if you want to go to the land, go to your left, otherwise follow me with the orange flag?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, really, it was like, don't run. It was like just a very much a calm down.
Yeah.
Everyone's here. We want everyone to be safe. Don't freak out. Which is sad because you have to tell a bunch of grown adults to behave.
We're
basically.
excited.
But yeah, so, and then Chewie came and sort of hyped the crowd up. Not that they needed that. Not that we needed that. And then at 5:00, it was kind of a fun little like countdown. And then we were kind of, the gates were opened, if you will. And you do quite a bit of walking before you really kind of get into the nitty gritty of the land. I mean, you're walking and it's pretty much like you said, they're not calling it Rise of the Resistance? What did you say?
Rise of the Resistance will be the attraction, but yeah, they're calling it Jedi Ruins.
But that, I mean, you were saying how crazy big it looks, and you really do. You walk the whole like length of it, and you're like, where is this land?
Yeah.
But there were a lot of cast members kind of directing you. So again, if you wanted to go to the cantina, which Magical Kind of Mama had suggested you get your name in kind of right away, because they started doing a virtual queue that they hadn't done at first, but they did not a virtual queue, but you basically left your phone number and it kind of had your place, or would not hold your place. I don't know how to put it, because nothing was ever guaranteed. Like, even when you got the text and got into line for the cantina, you still weren't really guaranteed going in. But I was nervous about that because I had told you, remember, like the day or two before, that I had read some people had put their name in like pretty much towards the beginning and didn't make it in.
Yep.
Which I was like, that's insane.
Yeah.
Like, it's 4 hours. Like, how? But anyway, so we kind of divide and conquer. David and I are really big on divide and conquering. And it's funny because a lot of people we've visited Disneyland with who don't come very often are very different. And I get that because they're here like as a family, it's a vacation or whatever. So the idea is to be together, right? So even if you're waiting in a 2-hour line, you're doing that together. I would assume that's some of it. But David and we decided to divide and conquer. So he was going to go put our name in for the cantina, and I was going to go get in line to build a droid, because we decided that that's something we wanted to do, and we thought Wes would really like it. So we did that. I can speak to, like, I got into the line for the droid depot. It wasn't very long, but that was the first kind of glimpse into how strict they were being with the time frames and the wristbands, because there were people from the previous time block
trying to jump in line right at the end.
And he was like, nope, like, like, you had your time and you can't spend another hour doing this. Like, your time is your time. And so they were pretty diligent about it. And then my worry, though, did become at that point that David wouldn't be back to experience.
No, we lucked out, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I followed the flag guy, and he walked us all the way around, basically to one of the tunnels, the furthest tunnel that goes up near the back of Big Thunder, and turned around, and he was basically snaking the cantina line around that way. And we got in line to give our name and phone number to a cast member. I probably waited in that line for no more than 10 minutes. And by the time I was done with that, Suzi was right at the door for the droid depot. So it sort of worked out perfectly.
And she told me that they were out of a couple of the colors, but when we went in, we saw some of the
'em.
colors
Yeah.
that it seemed like they might have been out of. So, I mean, I can appreciate them trying to kind of forewarn everybody and give people the option, like, hey, if this is something you want, we don't have it. And if it is, but then you think about it that way too on the flip, right? You say, oh, I don't have this color.
Right.
Oh, okay, I'll come back or something. And then they have it. That is an interesting little setup, the Droid Depot, because it's a store, and it is a store you can access even if you're not building a droid. And there is a very specific section of the store that has, I guess, gates, for lack of a better word. So you can't freely walk into that space.
Right, correct.
But you do get
Where
in
the
line.
parts are and everything.
Yeah, you get in line. You pay for your droid. They do have kind of like a menu, if you will, to the left of sort of your options. You can do an R droid or a B droid. Is that the correct?
R droid or BB droid, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you can make some decisions and sort of see what some of your options are, and then you pay for it, and you get your basket, which has all the parts that you need to basically pick out to build your droid. And then they might have you wait, like they had us wait a couple minutes, not too long at all, but just so that there was enough space near the conveyor belt.
Yeah, it's very I Love Lucy in there.
So it's this conveyor belt with just literal pieces scattered about it, and you just go to it and you pick the pieces.
And your basket has like a legend at the bottom that says, these are the 5 pieces you need. You need a body. You need a head. You need 2 legs. You need a foot for the front. We got an R droid. So that was how that worked out. And then, yeah, that's sort of how you know what the pieces you need as they are coming on the conveyor belt.
So we grab those, and then you go to a station in the middle. It's basically where you build your droid. There's a lot of cast members coming around to sort of help you out, because to me it wasn't very clear. There are directions technically on the table,
I think part
if you
of the
will.
experience is that you get the assistance.
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, I definitely thought so, but you may have to like wait, or your cast member might go in between, 2 people. But it was a good experience. Like, it wasn't, rushed or chaotic. I mean, I guess there's a sense of chaos, because I think it's excitement that I'm more saying there's a sense of like this creation.
Well,
happening.
we've also like talked about on the show how we miss the baskets going around the top of the Star Tours queue, and this has something very similar to that, where there's these droid parts that go around the perimeter of this droid depot of all these parts of droids, like C-3PO parts and R2-D2 parts, or not R droid parts basically, and all these droid parts that kind of go along this hangar system that goes around the perimeter of the store. There's droids all throughout the store, in sort of display cases, on shelves, hanging on the wall. There's all these Easter eggs. K2SO from Rogue One was in there. I was very excited to see him. And stuff like that. It's very neat to see all the little hidden Easter eggs they have just throughout the stores themselves. Like, I mean, really, like New Orleans Square when you go into Le Baton Rouge or things like that. Every nook and cranny is filled with something to see. So it's definitely worth stopping in, whether or not you're building a droid.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, so you can watch people do this. But we got to the table, and a cast member started to assist us to put our droid together. And then there's a couple pieces that you get from them, very small kind of pieces that you kind of just put on the droid at the end.
Bumpers and stuff. You could choose colors.
And what's really fun, especially for younger people, kids, I guess I should say, is there is like a little, not box, but it's she sticks the droid, the built droid, in this little.
It's like an activation chamber.
Yeah, so she just kind of puts them in. They grab a remote control, which links up to the specific droid. And what I found interesting, I told you, was they yell like
what were
someone's
they yelling?
name. Like, I can't remember. I
Somebody.
feel like it was like Brad. It's probably like Brad because he has to like click something.
But it seemed like, I don't know. Yeah.
You think it was more like an in-character
I think it was
thing?
an in-character thing, and I just didn't get the reference,
Neither did I.
unfortunately. Yeah. Apparently, I'm a hashtag fake fan, so.
I swear they were like, Brad. But anyway, again, I think, David, you had to remind me that it was probably all a little more for show.
Oh, yeah.
But I think I was so much viewing it through Wes's
Sure.
point of view. But they stick the droid in that little cabinet, if you will, and it's a shallow cabinet. And there's a button closest to us that you will press when she or your cast member tells you it's time. And it basically, once you press it, it activates the activation.
Yeah, there's like 6 steps to this
system.
activation chain reaction of things that happen, and your droid sort of reacts to every little section. So as you press it, the first chamber lights up, and it's like powering up or whatever it is. But each little step up the ladder, if you will, of stages, there's 5 stages of activation, activates a little thing on your droid. And by the end, your droid comes to life, lights up, makes noise, and then they pull him out of the activation chamber and hand you the remote control, let you do a little test drive. They show you how to put his legs in the correct configuration. And it really is a really neat toy and a really neat experience and process. And my favorite part of this whole thing is how amazing the remote control unit itself looks. It looks like a toy straight out of the 80s. From the shape, the colors, the design, the way it feels in your hand. It's just so 80s, and I love it. It's like red, white, and blue, and this huge white chunky plastic controller. And it lights up in different things, and it does different things. Your droid obviously can go forward, back, left, right, but you can also rotate its head. There's a button to make it make sounds. There's an extra button where if you buy, obviously they're going to upsell you on things. If you buy an accessory,
don't upsell you.
No,
they're
they don't.
just accessories available
Optional
in the shop.
pieces you can buy that are not included with your purchase of a droid.
So just for informative, I guess, or for people's information, I think it was $99.99.
Yes.
It's like $100 basically. So that's the base price that gets you an R droid, and then you can obviously spend more than that with some of the accessories. But again, they do not upsell you; they're just available outside. However, I will say this is my one peeve with the entire situation: is there really is not. And maybe no one else would need this but me, but like there's no instruction manual, because we did opt to get one of the accessories, and they're not that expensive. I mean, I think, they're less than $20. Obviously, when you already spent $100 on a toy, if you will. But again, David and I talk about this all the time. This is something we would have done probably even if we didn't have Wes.
Yeah.
So while Wes is really enjoying it, it's something we've actually really thought was just a great experience, and he's been fun to play with in the house. But they don't tell you how. Like, we got R2 or RD, as Wes has named him.
Right, yeah.
We got him blasters. And I remember when we went to finally put them on, I was like, I don't know where these go. And the only instruction on the box was it like goes to it on his leg, on the R droid's leg. And I'm like, okay, well, how? And I finally figured out that one of those like colored panel pieces that we had added comes off. So you have to pop off a piece and then put that on. And so a couple things I have an issue with is, one, the instructions just could have been a little clearer. And two, I also feel like the additions shouldn't necessarily you shouldn't need to remove things, if that makes sense.
Oh, sure, I guess.
That's how I feel, because now I'm like, okay, well, now I gotta not lose this.
But yeah.
but you saw the blasters, and now we have to
Yeah.
keep track of the blasters because
Right.
he's going to want to put the blasters back on. And I will also say the blasters are not like, I expected it to click in just like the rest of Artie's like pieces did, and it works because it lights up and it makes noises, but it doesn't feel as secure as the rest of it. So I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, that was a really good time. We did our droid deep.
Yeah.
We did our droid.
And they have other cool merchandise in there. They even have these little backpacks that your R2 droid or your R droid can fit in.
Live
Probably
in,
the
yeah.
BB droid can fit in there too. They were sold out when we were there.
Yeah, because I think we would have got.
But
I
it
would've
seemed
gotten
pretty
one.
cool, yeah. And then R2D2, a full-sized R2D2 is in that store.
$2,000? No, $25,000, right? Yeah.
For like a life-size
Working
R2D2 that
R2D2,
works. Yeah,
yeah.
it was pretty
And
cool. And you can take a photo
I
with them.
think it was the magical kind of mama who was there when a couple was buying it.
That's
which is
amazing.
crazy, right?
I wonder if they put him in a large version of that white box that you take your small one home in.
She has to carry that
Yeah.
around the park all day. There's that. I know you were really tempted to buy DJ Rex, which is a Bluetooth, because he's exactly like the droid you can build. Oh, I should say this: you can buy a pre-made R2D2 and C3PO. We didn't look at C3PO a ton, but R2D2, it's the same exact price as if you were to build it. So in my mind, I'm like, why wouldn't you just go
just get the
build your
experience.
own? Because that was so much a part of it, was that experience.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah. So yeah, the Rex droid looks really cool. He's just as big as the droids you can build in the depot. But he's DJ Rex. He's a Bluetooth remote control speaker. And Guy Selga from Touring Plans he bought one, and they did like a review of it, and I loved everything about it.
You should talk to Krista. Krista bought it.
She didn't. I
she
asked her about
didn't?
it. Yeah, she wrote at the bottom, there's a disclaimer that says, I just need to start my GoFundMe page. But
I thought she got it.
So Guy Selga, he got one and did a review of it, and I loved everything. He loves it, and I love everything about it, but it takes AA batteries, and
You're gonna burn through that.
it takes 8 AA's, and I'm like,
Oh
I would
my
rather
goodness.
it be something I can plug in.
Yeah, and charge.
Because I'd love to have him just at my office on my desk. Like, I don't need to drive him
Yeah, that
around like a
seems
remote
so
control
awful.
car.
But anything.
But I like that it does drive around like a remote control car.
But
But
why couldn't you just charge it?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, so far our R2 droid is still on his factory batteries, and I think we forget to turn him off all the time.
No, Wes. Wes sleeps with him every night.
Yes.
He's very much been worth the
I
money.
need my droid.
He watches Star Wars with him, plays with him. He's
And-
like his friend.
One thing we forgot to mention is that the droid interacts with the land.
Yes.
So they turn him on and leave him on in the box
Well, they
as
give you the
want.
option.
Right.
But why wouldn't you keep it
Of
on?
course.
Right?
And you were saying it was like having another kid as you were walking around.
Well, yeah, because I unfortunately was not able to ride Smuggler's Run with David and Wes. So it was more when I was by myself that I felt somewhat silly, because at times he was literally in the stroller, and that was just for convenience.
Yeah.
It wasn't like people probably looked at me and thought I was a crazy lady who went to Star Wars land with her stroller to put her droid in.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, when you guys were on the ride and I was by myself at any point, even when I think I was in line for the popcorn, I just was like,
What does that sound?
I was like, oh, do I have to tend to him? Like, what do I?
It's like a
What?
Tamagotchi.
But I mean, it was really fun. It was just this element of fun. I mean, that's such a key thing. How did we even forget that? Yeah. But yeah, keep it on. If you build it, keep it on. You cannot play with it in the land. Wes did take it out of the box and held it. Again, I think we have to like tag and mention Magical Kind of Mama, but I got a lot of really great tips from her.
Yeah.
Her son, they did the droid as well, and her son had held him, and at one point was told that they had to stay in the box by a cast member, which I think she said she confirmed that it really isn't the case. It was just the cast member that she ended up running into, but you definitely cannot use the remote control feature. So if
You can't just drive them around the land.
Yeah, because then it'd just be pure chaos.
Well, there's also stairs and things in the land. You could easily drive your droid off the edge of and say, "Oh, I broke it.
and
it
then
went down the stairs."
then they're liable, because of anything. So,
but also, it would 100% get in the way and get kicked by somebody.
well,
so.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, and then someone would be like, "Huh." But anyway, so Wes had a grand old time. No one ever ended up telling us that he couldn't be out of the box, but he really just held him the whole time. So he slept with him that night with the cutest little picture of him. But yeah, it was just really enjoyable. And that was the first thing we did.
Yeah.
And I think after that was when we really finally stepped outside and said, okay, now let's look around. Because we still had to wait for our reservation. We had a plan that we would not try to ride Smuggler's Run until later.
Yeah.
In our reservation. And because we finished, we were pretty much done with that droid thing, 30 minutes? Maybe 45.
Yeah, we took our time because I was waiting for a text. We had they quoted me 45 minutes. So, yeah, maybe a half hour because it was about 15 minutes after that I got the text that said we were ready
finally
to get in line.
able to just walk around and look around for a little bit.
Yeah. So we went and took pictures with stormtroopers. We took a picture in front of Kylo Ren's ship. And
Wes was dressed as a stormtrooper.
He was.
They're really great. I've seen so many awesome videos of, really all the cast members, but even the characters, the stormtroopers, the Kylo Ren's, Chewbacca's, Rey's walking around. Yes, are so great in interacting really with everyone.
There's that other new character that walks around the land, and I forget her name, but she's everyone's favorite. She's got blue hair, and they say she's very Han Solo-y. Let me pull up her name real quick, because everyone she's the person to see. I saw her once. She's always sort of hiding from the stormtroopers, and she'll get to know you if you're standing in line for something. She'll hide behind you, and then chat with you while she's hiding from the stormtroopers. And I hear she's a mixture of Han Solo and really her own thing.
Right.
But I hear a lot of people really love her.
When we walked into that little Imperial corner, I don't know the exact name of it. There were stormtroopers on the buildings or on top of the buildings doing a patrol.
Perimeter
it was
check.
so cute because Wes is in his little stormtrooper outfit, and they spot him and they point him out. And then a little bit later, they're out and down and kind of patrolling. And, Wes was like, why'd they come and see me? And it's it was just so great because they really did go out of their way to interact and take pictures with him. And, of course, in this particular case, thank him for his service.
That's right. They did.
But our son is battling his allegiance to the light or dark side because later he changed into his Luke outfit.
That's right. So she keeps tabs on the First Order. V may pass on some tricks of her trade to ensure those she encounters know how the Resistance is gaining its strength. So that's what she does. But basically, she is a
No, I think that's great. I don't think I've ever heard of it.
Yeah,
interesting.
I noticed her a few times while we were walking around, but also it was that and the Disney Play app, just things that I was very much we'll do it next time. We'll do it next time. Let me.
Totally. Yeah, you can really get overwhelmed. And I think that's why for me, I just wanted to have an idea of we wanted to choose a couple things that we wanted or had to do this visit. And then we could do the rest. And I completely agree. There's so much interaction with the Disney Play app and stuff. And I saw people just kind of doing it. And it seemed cool. And it
had to be not their first time in the land.
Well,
sure.
yeah, I was just this is definitely something I can do it at a different date. Yeah. But yeah.
So then we went to the cantina. Mm-hmm. So after we got the text, we got in line, and we probably waited in line for 15 minutes, maybe.
I don't know that.
Well, Wes had to use the restroom. That's all I know. So we waited in line for maybe
10, 15 minutes, sure.
Before he went, and then we went inside, and there's three options. There's the booth, there's standing tables, or there's at the bar. And the rule was if it's first come, first serve. So wherever they put you, they put you. Although they will come out and ask, they'll say, this is what's available. Is that okay? You could wait if you want, but we just took first available, which was at the bar, and we found a spot right near the entrance. But you have a great view of Rex. He had really a great view of the entire interior. Only thing is the bar is double-sided. So on the Rex side of the bar, so you'd basically have your back to Rex, there might be stuff to see on that side of the bar that we didn't see, but there's all kinds of stuff to see inside the cantina.
Well, not too much, because I walked over to see Rex.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I took a peek.
But sure, like behind the bar where they pour the drinks and stuff, there's stuff up above. There's like creatures in aquariums, and it's just a really cool atmosphere. And Rex is over there with Paul Rubens doing all new voiceover and playing music. It reminded me a little bit, although I couldn't hear him as well as, but it reminded me a little bit of my boy over at Magic Kingdom, Sunny Eclipse. So yeah, Paul Rubens is basically the Sunny Eclipse of the park, although you can't hear him as well. And I don't see the cantina becoming less crowded anytime soon. Let alone the land itself, but I think that's going to be a tough ticket.
People stole the menu, and they're on eBay for Olga's Cantina, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's the name, Olga's Cantina. Olga. I keep thinking Olga.
No, I didn't.
Like an old Russian woman.
No.
This is my cantina. And we had one drink each. Wesley got the blue milk.
Isn't there no, it's a maximum. You can only order 2 alcoholic beverages.
2 drinks. Well, she said 2 drinks per person maximum, and I think it's just to get people out of there. Yeah. And it was 45 minutes maximum. You got to get out in 45 minutes. So Wesley got the blue milk. What was your drink called?
So he got the blue bantha, which is blue milk served chilled with bantha-inspired vanilla butter sugar cookie.
That reminded me of a Girl Scout cookie. The what's the one with the coconut on it? Samoas. Thank you. I had the fuzzy tauntaun, which was. I had like a zillion. Do you have the fuzzy tauntaun ingredients?
Ciroc peach vodka, Bowls peach schnapps, and Simply Orange topped with tangerine, pure cane sugar, Buzz foam.
So that Buzz foam was no joke. It reminded me of like when you test a 9-volt battery with your tongue, but not as strong, but certainly lasted for quite some time. I don't know how I felt about it in the end. I had fun with it, but I don't know that I loved it.
Sure.
But if this is literally the only place I can ever get that thing, because I'd never experienced that before.
How was the drink?
I'm good with that.
How did you
drink
feel
was
about
really
the drink?
good. Yeah, okay. It was dangerously good.
I'll say a lot of people just feel like they're not boozy enough.
Oh, I don't know. Although we hadn't eaten. Yeah. I was feeling it pretty good.
Yeah, but I also feel like you might be kind of a little bit of a lightweight too.
So, yeah, we did that. You went up and got good pictures of Rex. Oh, what was your drink?
I got the Belerg Fire.
Ah, yes.
Which is Odwalla lemonade, pomegranate juice, and a habanero lime.
A rim
to it. Which was like, it's interesting that's not even on here, but it was like, not maybe like tahini. I don't know that it is tahini, but it's that type of like flavor.
Chili limey,
rim. So that was pretty good. We did not end up having
the Jello or the
food.
Snacks. Yeah.
We were just really hungry at that point, so I was determined.
We did have to ask for coasters, but we did get 3 of the 4 coasters they offer.
Which is so strange that literally they were serving things without the coasters. They were giving us napkins instead.
Yeah, it was very
what's
bar-y.
What's the point of this?
I think in the end it was a good experience. This is probably going to be the Cove Bar of Disneyland, in that like
worse.
Cove Bar is probably because it has a Star Wars aspect to it. But when Lamplight Lounge opened, they might even still now, they had special themed coasters and stuff like that. And there's always a line for Cove Bar, and there will always be a line for the Cantina, I'm sure. Any other notes about the cantina before we head out? And
During the day, it's a pretty nondescript sign, at least that I could tell, because I remember walking past it after we had gone in and it was dusky at that point, starting to get dark, and then the cantina sign was lit up and it very clearly read cantina, and I thought that was just a nice, just little things. Again, the difference between day and night, right?
Totally.
Like the vibe of the whole.
It was nice to see the land change.
It totally was, and I thought that was a really good call on your part.
Yeah, thank you. While we were eating at Oga's Cantina, we did order.
Not eating, we were drinking.
Sorry, while we were drinking at Oga's Cantina, we ordered food from Docking Bay 7, and doing the mobile order made it really nice because there seemed to be a really long line outside the establishment itself.
Well, specifically, much later, like we passed by it later. I don't know if we were leaving or going to Smuggler's Run, and I think
we were just wandering around the land later.
insane.
Yeah, we got the smoked Kadu ribs, which are sticky pork ribs, blueberry corn muffin, cabbage slaw. Now, the blueberry corn muffin really was like a sweet corn, like a blueberry sweet corn tamale filling almost. I thought it was really yummy. I think you thought it was a little strange.
Well, I definitely think the pairing was strange. The food was good.
Yes, the ribs were really good.
Both of the things itself were really good. I didn't understand the pairing, but I did hear a lot about how kind of strange the food selections were. I will say that is what I didn't do a ton of research on, and I think this was one of the things I was willing to like. I even told you when you ordered, like, I think at that point I kind of felt sick and I just needed food because we really probably could have ordered one other thing. Yeah. But we just didn't.
Yeah, we just shared that. And you went and got the popcorn.
Yeah, I went and got the popcorn. But I just figured that was something I could do later because I think that's, again, the hard part is enjoying it in the moment, but also taking it in. Like, even when I think back, I'm like, well, what was that? What was that called? And then you're like, well, how do I not remember this? And it's almost because you're running around sort of trying to get this stuff done.
Totally.
And not really, taking it in as much as you probably should be.
And I remember after we finished eating, we sort of looked at our watch and we were like, oh my gosh, it's already 7 o'clock. And the tip was to get in line for Smuggler's Run before the last hour of your time because there was overlapping before the next group came in.
Well, I feel like some of the things I read had actually said just go in like a half hour before your time is up because you'll be in line at that point. But I think you were actually the one that said we should go now.
Well, the line was only 35 minutes.
But you really had that point because at that point it was just our group because the other group previous to us had been filtered out. But you had a good point. The second that next hour opened, a whole
new group was going to come in, including Mark Hopp as a Blink 182.
So you guys got in line for that, or we got in line for that. And you guys went.
What'd you think of the queue? We just did a queue episode.
It was good. I think I would have it looks good, but I do think I would have wanted or liked maybe a little more, I don't know if interaction, because there's so much interaction everywhere.
Sure, there were knobs and levers that did not turn nor leave. And like you couldn't activate the
one
levers.
Main room, and I guess that's always the case. I mean, there's very much a theme, obviously. It's good in that sense. But I think there's just a lot of, not empty space, but I think of like Star Tours. And the line is much longer, obviously, the queue. And you have really great shots, or not shots, but vantage points of the Millennium Falcon from the other side, which is really awesome. But short of that, I felt like there just could have been a little more. Like even there were, some audio commentary of like people working.
It's basically like almost like some sort of proving ground or some sort of mechanic's garage type of feel, and it even smells like motor oil in some places, and I thought that was a really good touch. You hear people working, you see engines doing tests, and you see like fog comes up and lights change,
but
and
only
stuff like
a little bit. every once in a while.
Correct.
Yet,
It's not
so.
too much. Yeah.
But I guess I feel like there could have been more.
Oh, you not too much, but maybe you could have been more.
Well, I feel like there was a lot of quiet time
Sure.
and a lot of quiet spaces. And I think again,
Yeah.
I know it's longer, but I think of like Star Tours where you go into the, you have the big screen and then you have the Star Speeder and then you have C-3PO and then you have R2-D2 and then you turn the corner and then there's the working droids, manning the luggage, and then you know what I mean, like the screeners. I just felt like, I guess I would have wanted something more like that, like a little more to see. So I guess I wasn't that impressed with the queue. I will say
it is 100% handicap stairs, but you do go up to the second floor.
Yeah, it very much was cool to see the Millennium Falcon through some of the windows.
Yes.
On your way through, though. Yeah, I will say that the room. You can kind of talk more about this because I'm not sure what the guy's called and all that. But that room with the
Hondo Ohnaka. Yeah. So you. There's a general like grouping area where they split like maybe 60 people in two, and there's 30 people on one side of the room and 30 people on the other. Then you go into the next area.
Who cares?
Oh, this is important. Then you go to the next area, and that's where Hondo Ohnaka is up on a platform, and it's the most amazing animatronic I've ever seen. And behind him is an angled screen that sort of makes everything look three-dimensional. It's angled down so you can see it. And he's sort of telling you about your mission. And everyone, after his pitch to you, moves through that room into a basically sorting room where they give you a role, and they give you that role by handing you a card. And for each role, there's two people. So there's two pilots, there's two gunners, there are two engineers. And that group of 6 people gets sort of moved into the Millennium Falcon waiting area, and that's where you're seeing all these great photos of people in the Millennium Falcon. There's I forget the name of the chess game. I'm a #fake fan, but there's the couch area where you see the space chess game that Chewbacca was playing in A New Hope, and you can see where the hallway to where the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon would be. But then you realize that groups are being called to different areas of this waiting area. And what it seems is that this waiting area has many offshoots and many cockpits associated with it. So it's a really clever way to give everybody an experience and move people through the ride. So you have about 5 minutes in that room before your group is called, and then you go into an area where you basically stand in your role with your other 5 people, 6 people total. You watch a video of Hondo Ohnaka telling you, hey, here we go. This is the mission that we need to complete. The cast member checks, if you're the pilot, he'll ask, have you ever piloted a Corellian vessel before? And then he'll give you an appropriate response. And then the only thing that seems strange is that the previous pilots and crew come out of the cockpit while you're toward you while you're waiting there. And it seems weird that they don't A, go one way, or B, get out
before they open
the door. Almost like Tower of Terror in Florida, where when the elevator comes, it's empty because it had emptied out in a different area. Not super important, but it does make the exit situation sort of awkward.
Yeah.
Because then you're just waiting for the elevator to come while the other people are about to go on and have a blast.
Sure.
So once you get in the cockpit, very much looks like the Millennium Falcon, and it's basically a great video game. And everybody has a role. The ride lasts about 5 or 6 minutes, and it's terrific. We were able to successfully obtain 2 fuel cells, which was better than the crew that we did previous, because this was their second time on the ride.
I see.
And they only rescued 1 fuel cell. So this time we rescued 2. So I guess Wesley and I were good pilots, which was really me leaning over and steering both the left-right joystick and the up-down joystick, while Wes just yelled for backup and looked for X-wings. But he had a blast, and yeah, so that was our sort of.
And you said it was like, would you say it's less intense, as intense, or more intense than Star Tours?
I think it's less intense than Star Tours, but you have something to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they've toned it down because you have things to do.
Sure.
And it doesn't need to be as crazy because you have stuff to do.
Sure.
So, but yeah, it definitely, like, if I sat there and paid attention to it, which I did a couple times, I was kind of like, oh, this could be a little jerkier, or oh, the sound could be a little louder here.
It's interesting because I've read so many mixed things, and again, it's
an amazing
always
attraction.
Be mixed,
it's such a great attraction.
I heard a lot of people say it was really intense, so I'm just like, oh,
no.
I was really nervous about like Wes, and I'm really glad because he has his days where he does want to do things and doesn't want to do things. But you guys rode Star Tours twice that day.
Yeah, he had a blast. And Star Tours, they brought back the old prequel trilogy scenes. So we saw Darth Vader, we saw Kashyyyk, and we saw Coruscant, which we hadn't seen in a long time.
Fun.
So yeah, that was Smuggler's Run. Then we exited the attraction. Oh, we got our score, which was not great. I think it said we did 20%. I don't know what that means. But our friend Mark Hoppus from the band Blink-182 is a huge Disneyland fan. And I saw that he had gone on Smuggler's Run. So I asked him, what role did you have on your mission? And he says that he was a gunner. We got a cumulative negative 500 points on our mission. So the other thing is I did not get the feeling ever throughout the rest of our day that how our mission performed affected how our day was in the land at all. Like maybe the cast member that took us in, he said something when the ride was over a little bit, like, oh, you guys like, but I was also still trying to take in the attraction.
Maybe they're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know. But there was nothing that led me to believe that our performance followed us.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard from anybody
neither.
that's been the case. So I don't know.
We pretty much just sort of walked around at night at that point and sort of enjoyed the park.
Yeah, the sun had gone down.
In that respect. And I will say that because at that point, that would have been the last group, we definitely took our time leaving. We were never really asked or told to leave. But we did sort of meander our way out, but definitely took our time. And I mean, this is all speculation, but I genuinely feel like we probably could have stayed the rest of the night
unless
and not
we got
had an
in line
issue.
for, like, we didn't do the Jedi Temple to build the lightsaber. What is that called, sir?
I don't think you can go in unless you have Savi's workshop.
Savi's workshop, yeah. We didn't. You have to have a reservation for it or something?
No, it's just like the Droid Depot. You have to wait in line, but that I think is a different experience.
They might have booted us if we got in line for that and they saw that, or we didn't have the right wristband.
They just didn't seem to be checking. There were a lot less cast members. Sure. The crowd had a lot of people were shopping, and maybe that's because it was the end of our shops are very small. So yeah, the two things I think that we did not, I guess, touch on was even when we first saw the Millennium Falcon, you ended up seeing it, I think, a little. Oh no, you had.
I saw it later than you did.
Yeah, so
I saw it after we came out of the cantina, and Wesley was so excited.
Yeah, so it's very epic. Like, that is the back of the land where Smuggler's Run is in the Millennium Falcon. And, I mean, you cannot see it until you turn a corner.
The whole land is basically shaped like a question mark.
Yeah.
And it's basically right at the tip of the curl of that question mark.
Yeah. But it's a really great, like, reveal, I guess. And I remember when we first saw it, we were still waiting in line for the cantina, so I did not get in line. But the line for the photo pass, or the opportunity to, take a picture with photo pass, at least a photographer, was so long. And you can absolutely take pictures without waiting in that line.
Yeah.
But they do a really good job at keeping kind of a certain space clear so that anyone who is waiting in that line can get a really good, nice, clean
and they
shot.
even do like with a really wide angle lens so they can get up close to you and get the whole Millennium Falcon without.
Well, I feel like ours did some fun stuff, but they don't all look like that. A lot are straight on. Like, either way, they did put a lot of thought and time and effort into it. And Wes he ran up to it. It was like
The Millennium
yeah,
Falcon.
exactly. Like he
Yeah.
was so excited. And so a little later, we did end up doing the pictures, and was pretty happy with some of the stuff she did. It was lighting was a little hard, I think, with some of the stuff she did, but really some great shots of Wes and his lightsaber. He was dressed as Luke at that point. What is great is our pictures look like there's literally nobody else there, but there are. But again, not.
Also, the ship is so big, people can get photos with it from
there's
any
angles,
angle, from any distance, and it still looks good.
And I guess that would be the only other thing that we sort of alluded to earlier and didn't really end up touching on.
Yeah.
For the most part, the crowd is manageable. I think it was mainly in the shops. Like in the droid shop, it was really hard to move around when we had gotten out of the building.
Yeah. And then in the marketplace, the shops are really shallow and small.
Which makes sense because, again, you're thinking,
I also think those, everything on the west wall of all those shops is butt up against the back of Rise of the Resistance. So I think they're making...
Well,
I don't know that for sure, but
I think it's part of the theme, but I guess the point being is, while it never felt crazy outside of the shops, there were a couple times, and I guess they were all in the shops, but when we looked at each other and we were just like, what is it going to be like when it's just free for all, basically? And
it was so nice. There's these great quiet areas and stuff, and
those probably won't exist,
especially when Rise of the Resistance, because a lot of it's in that side of the park. But it was really nice to just be walking around in what felt like, Big Thunder Ranch at night back in the day, and then Chewbacca's there. And no one's around harassing him. Maybe another 5 people, maybe.
Yeah. It was a really great, and again, seemed to definitely taper off, and probably because it was in that transitional time, and maybe they didn't even fill the complete late slot. I really don't know, but really good experience, good day, had a fun time.
Yeah.
Really impressed with the theming. They have their own language.
Big. Yeah.
You can look that kind of stuff up
Rising
online.
Suns, Bright Suns, Rising
Safe
Moons,
Travels.
Till the Spire.
Yeah, and they're so good. All pretty much at staying kind of within.
Till the Spire is my favorite one.
Within their kind of theme. It's just. It's exciting. It's new. It looks amazing. Yeah. It feels like you're you really are. You're you don't feel like you're in Disneyland anymore at all. And I know there's a lot of controversy with it being their period. And we touched on this in one of our other episodes. I do think that there are some things that don't make sense about it. And sure, in the end, would I have put it there? No, but that's where it is. That's what it's gonna be like. Do I think they should figure something out with Star Tours? Yes. but yeah, it was. I'm really glad we got to do it. I was really excited, and I really wish. And I know this may not be a popular opinion, but I really wish we had somehow had been able to get the 2 reservations.
Sure.
As a family, because I do know there were. However, it was that they got multiple reservations. There were people who did go multiple times. But it would have been, totally worth it to me to do it, because I do unfortunately assume and think we will probably not be able to kind of go back, and it definitely won't be the way that it was when we went, crowd-wise or control-wise, but without getting there at the crack of dawn, and who knows what this virtual queue thing will actually look like, or how it will
probably
work.
Still be timed experiences in the land.
Sure.
Maybe. I really don't know, but
right. But that's the thing. So in my mind, that's why I wanted to do the reservation so much, was that this would hold us over for however long it might be until it's an enjoyable or easier experience in the next year or so. But we'll see. I could, camp, a lot of people talked about how empty the park got, and that was part of it. Probably part of it was the pass blocks and all that other stuff, but a lot of people probably also stayed away. Who knows? Maybe it'll have the absolute opposite effect for a little bit.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see what kind of comes of all of it.
Yeah.
But I thoroughly enjoyed it. And for anyone who's listening who may not be like a huge Star Wars fan, we've joked a couple times about like fake fan. I'm a very loose Star Wars fan. I enjoy the movies thoroughly, most of them, and like the idea of it all. But I by no means know the right names for everything. It's not like a super culty thing for me. But I very much thoroughly enjoyed it. So you do not have to be some hardcore or dedicated Star Wars fan to enjoy the space.
That's good. A good review, I think. What'd you think of the green milk?
Oh, I enjoyed it. We should talk about that, I guess, right? That was the only that
My
and the
favorite
popcorn.
part was that it was non-dairy.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
They were both non-dairy.
It's, the green milk was florally.
Yes.
But I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the popcorn. I forget what it's called.
Came in the little mouse droid.
Yeah, we did get the mouse droid, which is functional, has wheels and rolls around, and is like a thin like metal of sorts. So
you likened it to a Hawaiian treat.
Yes. So there's this colored, for lack of a better word, like rainbow colored popcorn that I used to at least first experience was in Hawaii, and I used to get in Hawaii when I was younger, and it is very like sweet and salty, and that's exactly what this popcorn was like. There was another treat, I think it might have been Rex's, like I forget, someone described it, and anyway they were sold out of it, so we didn't have the option to get it at all. But again, all of the food things I wasn't as concerned about, because it's definitely something we can go back to do. I wasn't gonna stress about that too much.
Yeah.
But
we got to experience. I don't think we left not having done something we had set out to do.
The couple things we were like, this for sure we want to do. We got to do those things, and it was really to experience Oga's, because especially that is going to be. I don't know how hard that thing is going to get into. But and obviously experience the ride. It's only the one ride, but you want to be able to experience that. And then even the droid, it was a fun thing, because even that, who knows how long it'll be to build a droid next time, because all of those things are going to have lines, all of them.
They sure are,
expensive or not. So,
well, all in all, we hope everybody can have a fun time exploring the world of Batu. Sometime soon.
Yeah, it'll be great. It really will be.
Well, till the spire, ladies and gentlemen.
If we're able to, we might get Wes to do a small review of his experience.
And if we do, you'll hear it right after this. But till the spire, where can we find you on the internet, Susie?
You can find me at A Little Sprinkle of Disney on Instagram.
And you can find us at Remain Seated Pulse on Twitter. And we're Remain Seated Please on Instagram and Facebook. And be sure to like, rate, and review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify now. I got that set up.
Yay.
So for those two of you that listen to podcasts on Spotify, welcome. And till the spire, I'm David.
I'm Susie.
Rising moons to you all.
Safe travels.
Well, folks, this concludes our show.
That wasn't so bad. Was it?
Hurry back.
And barrel around to see us again.
So, Wesley Jean. Yeah? This is your first time on Remain Seated, Please. So do you remember when we went to Disneyland last week?
Yeah.
What did we see when we went there? Did you go to a new place?
Yeah.
You went to a new place at Disneyland?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
What did they have?
Droid that Ted can build.
They had droids that kids could build?
Yeah.
And did you build one?
Yeah.
You did? What did you build?
I built a R2.
An R2?
Yeah.
And did you give him a name?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Addy.
Artie? Did you have a lot of fun building your droid?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't hard, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, it was hard?
No.
No, it was easy, huh?
Was it a lot of fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, would you say that a lot of people could do it and everybody would have lots of fun doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when we left there, where did we go?
Toby.
Do you remember when you were drinking the blue milk with your cookie?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what else did we see inside that building with the drinks?
Rex.
You saw Rex?
Yeah.
What was he doing?
He was playing the music.
He was playing the music?
Yeah.
Was he silly?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you like Rex?
Yeah.
Yeah, you liked him a lot?
I wish I took that one.
You want to get a Rex?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun, huh? And then when we left the cantina, what did you see when we came around the corner?
Tell me.
It was a big spaceship.
It was the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. Were you so excited to see it in real life?
Yeah.
Was it big or was it small?
Big.
Real big, huh?
What did it look like?
It looked like the Millennium Falcon.
Just like it, huh? Like they landed it there at Disneyland, right?
Why did they land it there?
Well, when you're at Galaxy's Edge, then you're on the planet of Batuu. And Batuu is a space outpost. It's called Black Spire Outpost on Batuu. And the Millennium Falcon sometimes goes and parks there.
Who did you dress up as when you were at Batuu?
Luke Skywalker.
Just Luke Skywalker, or did
Yeah.
you dress up as anyone else too?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, who else?
A
A
stormtrooper.
stormtrooper. You're battling with the good and the bad still, huh?
Yeah.
You can't decide.
Yeah, I didn't decide.
And when you were dressed as a stormtrooper, did you see anybody?
Who are they?
They were stormtroopers. Remember the stormtroopers came down to meet you?
Why?
Because you were dressed as a stormtrooper.
What did other stormtroopers say? Way or here?
They were saying right here because they were going to take a picture with you.
Oh, yes. They wanted you to
were-
stand right in
They
a
were
very
instructing
specific...
you, where to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was walking around and walking around where they were pointing.
Yeah. And then you got dressed as Luke Skywalker and you took a picture in front of the Millennium Falcon. Yeah.
And then what?
And then did we go inside the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah.
Tell me about it. What did you do in the Millennium Falcon?
I was driving one, but I wasn't the shooter one.
You were a pilot.
Yeah.
Did you have a really good time being a pilot?
Yeah.
What kind of stuff did you do?
I was pressing a lot of buttons.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And did we do a good job?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did everybody have a really good fun time?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was nighttime. What did it look like?
The main falcon.
It sure did look like the
There
Millennium
were
Falcon.
lights
Yeah.
everywhere. That was kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wasn't making any sounds.
Yeah. Did you eat anything? Do you remember eating anything that you really liked? What about that colored popcorn? Do
Yeah,
you
like
remember the colored popcorn?
yeah, but wasn't not the same at Disneyland.
Because it's special.
It was a
at
different
Bar
kind of
Batu,
popcorn.
So they serve different kinds of popcorn on Batu.
And then who did we see on the way out from the land? Remember we were walking out and we saw somebody really tall? Who did you see that was really tall?
Chewbacca.
Yeah? Did you meet Chewbacca?
Yeah.
And was he friendly?
Yeah, but also Ray was there, and I didn't know why Ray came.
Yeah, Ray was there and V. Marati and Chewbacca. What sound was that?
Instead of to shoot. Why did you do that?
Whoa, is that your R2 unit?
Did you get anything to add on to your RD?
Yeah.
What did we get?
We got a blaster.
We got blasters, huh? Do you want to do those?
What do the blasters sound like?
Yes.
And then what's your favorite noise that R2 makes that your RD doesn't make?
No. Ooh.
Like that?
Yeah.
And then what do the sand people sound like?
Oh, Mama Chinja.
So all in all, did you have a really good time at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge?
Yeah.
What was your favorite thing?
Doing on that. The Millennium Falcon one.
What's your favorite Star Wars movie?
A New Hope.
You like that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye, see you later. Have fun at Galaxy's Edge.
Thank you, Wes, for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Wesley.
What's it? Mama Chinja.